Okay, guys and gals. Okay, I have this movie here, but we're not going to talk about this movie. I was surprised to find it. It's Lego Jurassic World the Secret Exhibit, and I haven't watched it yet, but it had the cute little raptors in it, so I just, of course, had to buy that. I got it on sale at Walmart. So yeah. Anyways, these fell over. Ugh. There we go. They won't stay, but oh well. Anyways, what we're gonna talk about is there's a movie out there, and I watched it last night. It was Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the exciting thing is, and I'm going to draw all the conclusions here. All the and I can back up all these claims. And in a future video, I will go over the history of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles through comics and animation, and even the live-action shows. I'm not an expert in this field by any stretch of the imagination, but I just am a comic book enthusiast, and I've read or watched most of their stuff. And every few years, they have a reboot of the animated series. And again, we'll get into this later. But the movie is the movie I saw the other day is Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is a DC movie. Now, it's also canon that the same ooze that mutated the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles also gave Daredevil his special power, blinded Daredevil, and it enhanced his senses. Now, Daredevil is also in the Spider-Man universe, which is Marvel, and Batman is DC, so technically, this movie basically bridges the gap between Marvel and DC. And again, I can back this up. Back in, I'm not exactly sure of the year, but there was a popular Spider-Man TV series. It was animated, and I remember it because it basically had a version of the Secret War, where Spider-Man basically was teleported by the Beyonder to this other dimension, and basically several incarnations of Spider-Man basically went to save the world or something like that. It was really, really fascinating, and it was based on a comic series. But anyways, during this particular, show, not that particular episode, but during the run of this show, Spider-Man was basically represented by Daredevil, in his non-costumed form, the blind lawyer, his last name's Murdoch, I know that much. And so that's basically Marvel. Basically, the chameleon had framed Peter Parker for a crime that he didn't commit, and Daredevil helped him out, and all that. So, anyways, what we have here is, that basically links the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to the Marvel Universe because it was the same ooze that mutated the Turtles that, like I said, blinded Daredevil. And now we have this movie that has Batman from the DC Universe and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, as you can see, it's really a good opportunity, and I really doubt they could probably get the rights, DC probably can't get the Marvel rights, and Marvel probably can't get the DC rights to actually pursue this. But I like to think that this is really an exciting time because it bridges the gap between Marvel and DC. Since the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were, it basically goes full circle. And it's basically, like I say, a bridge between the two of these competing franchises. Now, I recall a comic series, and this was probably right before I really quit reading comic books in any sort of frequency, where Marvel and DC did actually have a crossover. Basically, it ended up with basically a Marvel and a DC superhero merging into one or in some kind of fusion, or maybe it was them versus one another to see which one was stronger, like Lobo versus Wolverine, and forget who Superman was up against, but maybe it was like Aquaman versus Namor, the Submariner. Anyways, I do that series really stands out to me, even though I don't really remember exactly what the gist of it was. And I think it came out around the time of when Superman died, and a bunch of other Superman clones showed up. And it was more than just the four that was in Reign of the Supermen. It was basically dozens and dozens of different Supermen all together, and then there was this big bad guy that they all had to work together to defeat. And it was really fascinating. But it would be really cool if Marvel and DC could, unite, into one big franchise, just for even a brief time. Maybe just like one movie, or maybe an animated show or something. And I have to say, I really do like what DC is doing with their animated movies now. I do consider Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to be animated. I've really been watching a lot of the DC movies, like Death of Superman, Reign of the Supermen. I really want to see X-Men. X-Men. I really want to see Batman. Hush. Let's see. I've also seen, well, it was just, I've actually purchased Death of Superman and Reign of the Superman from the Redbox, the local Redbox. And I really like the production value. I mean, the animation is usually really crisp, and the storylines are really fascinating. And that's not to say I don't like the Marvel movies, because the Marvel movies are really awesome too. I mean, it's really hard to top Endgame, because it was the culmination of it's either 23 or 24 movies. I mean, that's pretty impressive right there. I mean, so of course now they have to build up all that momentum again. DC did really well with Aquaman, I think, and that's probably going to lead Marvel to do something about Namor the Submariner, because he's like the Marvel version of Aquaman. And since DC did so well with their Aquaman, maybe Marvel is probably going to do something with theirs. And that's basically canon as well. And like I said, this whole bridge between DC and Marvel featuring the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is basically canon as far as I can tell. Because, just because, and again, I'll go over this in a different video because I don't want to take too much time on this one. But I'm going to go over the different incarnations of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in both the live action, because there were a few live action shows that probably didn't do really all that well, and based off of the movies. The original movies were live action, and also the animated series, because, like I say, there's been a reboot every few years of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle franchise in the animated sector. And again, I'll go over that. Probably a video dedicated to the animated shows and the different incarnations, and the live action shows. But that one's probably going to be short, because again, there really isn't much to say about the live action shows. And then again, they have remade the movies a few times too, because the original movies were there was 3 in the original. It was a trilogy. One in the third one, they actually go back in time, and I'm gonna have to do a lot of research. Again, this is all off the top of my head. Like I say, I'm not an expert by any means. I just have watched the movies. I've watched the TV shows, and I don't really know anything about the newest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle series, to be honest, because I've only actually seen the movie once, and I barely remember it, and that would be the newest movie. But yeah, that's just a look at the future. This movie is running a little long, so I'm going to be cutting it off here. This is going to be for July 4th, 2019. Again, if you like this content, and if you've really found this impressive, or really insightful, how, DC and Marvel have now bridged the gap just because of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, then like, subscribe, share, comment, and if you want to, you can throw a donation in. Information is in the description below. I want to thank everybody for watching. I really appreciate the views, and have a great day.